artistry. It's where we embrace free thought. We try to heal, love a little better, and there's always some element of social responsibility that we try to adhere to. I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsors. I am manning this shit tonight by myself. So hopefully Chris will join us shortly. I have to listen down too. But if not, me and Derek will take the lead. So shout out to our sponsors at TY Little Bo Black, my lovely co-host Bo Black. Final Cut Multimedia. Protected Hearts is in the building tonight, y'all. G-Spot Store and another quality style, lifestyle, excuse me. So Derek, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thanks for joining us. So, organized takeover. Tonight we're going to talk a bit about what that is, whether it's a movement. I understand it's a media entertainment company, but we'll get more into that. We'll talk about your clothing line, Protective Hearts. That's what I actually, the design is phenomenal, so I love it. And then media and all the different projects you have working in the future. So we'll just jump right into it.
Okay, thank you for having me again. With Organized Takeover, it actually started as a movement that I had a vision to have Black brothers, entrepreneurs, all coming together to help one another in a network. You know, whether if it's in music, entertainment, community outreach, nonprofit, corporate. I just wanted to bring Black brothers together. And then it kind of expanded into the Latino brothers. You know, we were all working about just coming together and just stopping the division amongst Blacks and Browns, you know, because it's a heavy war on the West Coast and in prisons that the Blacks and the Browns don't really get along, but we are alike. We're one. So we started out here with that, just conversation about talking about it. But then once the conversation started, it kind of like fizzled down. It fizzled down. So I still had this vision in my heart. So once I got to doing, I got a call from a guy named Doe from the Go from Chicago. He was a lifestyle manager for Def Jam.
Okay.
So he seen me, you know, marketing myself, and he told me to come do some marketing for Def Jam. It was for free. I didn't get paid, but the network and the experience and the love that I have for music and marketing and entertainment, it took off from there. Then he really told me, like, you know what, you need to start your own company. He said, so
that's where you got your first experience in the entertainment industry, is with the Def Jam promotions. Okay.
Yeah, in Chicago. Yeah, because in Milwaukee, we don't have a Def Jam office. We don't have a Def Jam region because it's a small market. So I would go to Chicago back and forth just for free, paying out of my pocket, but to get the experience and the network. So that's where it started from. And then once he told me to start my company, that's when I said, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do the Organized Takeover and use the networks that I have in the industry and people that's inspiring to get in, bring them together on that level. Then we will continue to go from there.
Okay. So what are some of the ways in which you envision this company? Sorry, y'all, I don't know why that happened. Oh, I know why. What are some of the ways that you envision Organized Takeover taking over?
That's the thing. It's, I wanted to hit the areas where our people really don't be in them areas and have the high ranking. You get what I'm saying? I want to have our own table where we didn't have to go to someone else's table. So I don't care if it was like say for instance, in music, there's not a lot of Black engineers. Mm-hmm. I wanted Black engineers to start their own company. That way we could teach another generation, you know, to stop that. And then there was so many people getting beat out of their contracts in the entertainment field. I wanted to get a lawyer to come in and discuss how to handle your contracts where you would not get beat. So it was more of taking over the places that we were already being taken advantage of in the industry.
Okay,
you get what I'm saying?
I definitely like that.
So
do you have artists that you work with too, Derek?
I have two that I'm working with right now, but they're my vision is I wanted to deal with people who was already entrepreneurs in the music industry. Because when I tried it with people that was up and coming, they wasn't. You got to have a lot of patience with music, a lot of patience, especially with new artists, because they don't understand the different segments of the different layers of music.
Mhm.
They feel that if they come to you, you should do everything. So what I do right now, I deal with artists that at least have their own LLC. They already have something together that I could take to the next level for them. I could do their promotional branding, their personal branding, and their project branding. So right now I'm dealing with Boss Bird from Roundtable Entertainment. And then I have another guy named Inferno from High Rise Entertainment that have projects coming on that I'm actually dealing with.
Okay, very nice, very nice.
I have the soundtrack for the clothing line as well.
You have a soundtrack for the clothing line?
Yes.
Oh, wow. I wish I would have had that because we could have showed that tonight. But speaking of the clothing line, your clothing brand is called Protective Hearts. And one of the slogans that I read on the website was, it's a clothing brand that believes in protecting your dreams, visions, and your heart's desires. Like what does that mean to you, and where did that come about from?
Well, it comes about that it really breaks down to, when you look at the logo, it's the bulletproof over the heart. So it really breaks down to protect what you love, regardless of what it is. Because, you know, sometimes we have dreams and they get stumped on by people that don't believe in you, you know, at an early age, because I went through that.
Yeah.
So it's more of whatever dreams and goals you have in life, if you believe in them, continue on them, continue on the path to get them done, to continue on the path to achieve your goals. Because no matter what you have to go through, it might be a struggle, but you still have to protect that dream and desire that you have in your heart.
So we're just gonna go through a couple of your items, actually, which I thoroughly enjoyed looking at a lot of your photos. Okay, so you have arrived, honey. Look at the cash flow. And it's a takeover, baby. So this is the initial design that you were referring to and talking about. Looks like y'all getting in work, and this is sort of what it looks like here too.
And that one right there, Ty actually did that logo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shout out TY Little doing the logo thing, honey. Yeah.
That's my boy.
He did the G Spots logo too. So you got tees, you got sweatshirts, you got hoodies, hats, face masks. Anything else in addition to that too? We're going to show some of this.
Yeah, we're actually developing the skateboard line. We're going to try to mix our culture with the skateboard culture, because it's kind of rebellious, but it's still not kind of rebellious, but they're in the lane where they do what they like to do. You know what I mean? And they had a bad rep for some time, but we're going to try to go into the skateboard genre and era and mix that as well. So we got skateboard, socks, and we're looking to try to create this a sneaker, like a kind of like a Van or a Converse sneaker. So we're looking into manufacturing some of those as well. Besides we have the lady line and kids line coming too.
Okay, all right, big things. I like the detail, the stitching, the clothing looks really nice and non-cheap. Kudos for that. Yeah.
Thank you. That's why it's taking a while, because we're actually trying to build quality, you know, and we're trying to separate the narrative of he's just selling t-shirts.
Yeah.
And that's not the case. I'm trying to build a brand somewhat like a high fashion brand, but of a good cost, a respectable cost, to where you can enjoy it, but it's top quality. You know, I want this to carry on for my kids to my grandkids.
Absolutely. Look at there, the tees, the young tees, little suave fella there.
Yeah.
You got the face mask, you got the skull hat.
We got bucket hats coming as well for the spring. We're preparing for spring.
Spring collection coming soon, y'all.
Yes.
Another hat edition right there. And then some of your boys, I'm assuming, you helping the brothers out and y'all helping each other out. So is this something that you solely do, or do you have a partner involved in this as well?
It's just me. It's me. And I have friends that I haven't known for years that ask me whatever I need. They'll contribute, you know, $100 here, $150 here, you know, to help me out, you know, along with my wife that pushes me. But solely it's my concept, my calling, my networking, me getting everything done, the promotion, everything.
Speaking of the wife.
That's her.
Always representing. Shout out to the wife. They always got we be having y'all back. So shout out to the missus there.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's actually a story behind the reason why I have like the two logos now,
Yeah.
and the reason why you see it basically in black and no other color.
Okay.
Okay, if you look at the heart and the vest, it's like I say, protecting what you love.
Uh-huh.
But it was birthed during a time where you see the white light around it.
Sure.
Is that us as Black people? That's why I did it in black, represent us. But we are starting to shine in the dark moment. You know, because when I was really getting involved, we was having a lot of police killing us. You know, 2020, a lot of the Black Lives Movement, all the injustice that was going on. So that's why I did it black for the first go round, for my people to let us know that we still shining and we still gonna make it through this and we still living. So when I get to the next stage with the fire, that means we fully lit. We're full blown with our visions now.
Okay. Fully lit.
Yeah.
I love it. That's
So
really a lot of depth and thought that you put into that.
mhm. Yeah, it's that, and like I say, it's a vision of really like it's mixed with taking over, but that dream, I don't want people dreams and goals to die, but it's also represent that we still have to love each other, but we got to protect our love for one another. You know, as a people and as a race, we have to protect our love that we have for each other first.
Okay. So what kind of cigars do you like, Derek?
Oh, Cubans, but I really don't. I had toned down with smoking the cigars every once in a while. It has to be an occasion.
Okay. Just to celebrate a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you looking to do fashion shows and do other things with the fashion? What are some of your ideas and visions for that?
Well, I plan on doing a fashion show with a small film in detail behind it, along with the soundtrack. I want to push all three of those narratives together, and I want to mix the hair industry as well.
Okay.
You know, the barbers and the hairstylists to come together. Then I also wanted to do it with other African American clothing line as well. You know, I'm always about bringing people together, so I wanted to do it like an event, but then have my clothing line close it out. But I wanted to bring not just my shine, but I want to bring other people along as well. But the main goal is like to mix multimedia with the fashion, the music, the hairstyle, the fashion, and the culture all together at one.
That's a big, big feat. And I'm sure you can get it with numbers, there's power. So I definitely can see that happening for you. I know when we had talked before, you had mentioned something about looking into getting into the podcast industry as well. I know that's a form of media. What is your outlook on that? What are you looking to do with that?
Well, I'm looking to inform the ones who really don't be on the internet like that. You know what I mean? Because, you know, we have a culture of people where I came from the streets. They really don't be on Facebook. They really don't do the internet like that. But I want to try to bring a platform where they can feel welcome to get information.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Where they don't get the information about technology, stocks, bonds, you know, life insurance, generational wealth. They don't get that type of information because no one really reaches out to them like that, sort of say. But I want to create a platform for that, but also a free platform to where you could come and talk about whatever. I don't care if you Black, white, Jew, Christian. We just come to the table and we talk and we inform.
Yeah.
And get points of view.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. I think that's important. A lot of people underestimate the importance of just a decent dialogue, a really healthy conversation. It goes a long way. Now, you mentioned your wife and you talked about the heart and what it kind of represents. How has she helped your creativity? Because, you know, we like to think the woman is the backbone to some degree, we are, but how has she inspired your creativity?
You know, she, with her, she's the ones that she draws the idea out of my head. You know, sometimes we can sit there and procrastinate. I want to do this, I want to do that. Or it get hard for like, it's like I say, it was just me, and she'll see me and be like, wait a minute. Okay, why don't you do this? Why don't you do it like this? And for me, I don't knock her leadership and her role that she plays. You know, I'm humble enough to sit back and be like, okay, you're right. You know, even though I have this corporate experience or whatever, I still respect her because she pushes me for the cause that she sees that what I want to do, especially with young kids and with fashion and things like that. She pushes that drive. She pushes my drive, like, go go, you can do it. You know, if you can't find a way to do it today, you will find another way. Or if I can't find it, she'll find it.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? And that's her. So when I'm tossing and turning, she's the one that's quietly planning and saying, okay, take this and do it like this, do it like that. You know, she's my silent checker. When I'm out of line with certain visions, she checks me and be like, no, stick right here, stick right here, stick right here. And from a female point of view of fashion, she's the one that's spearheading that one for me.
Okay.
And even from a man perspective, she tells me, no, this looks good, that doesn't look good, that looks good.
Okay.
So that's her.
She's done well so far. I love the design. I love what you're doing and what you're creating. When you were with Def Jam and that was your first kind of experience in the media industry, what were some of the things that you took away? Like, what were some of, like, if you had 3 bullet points, learning lessons, nuggets, what were some of those things that you took away?
Network, branding, and invested in your product. Those 3 things right there, it taught me a lot, because the way that they move like a machine. I mean, but they have everything in order. So the biggest thing, like I say, with the invested in yourself, they really invest in the artists. Really, they invest. They heavy on the marketing budget. And as far as like branding, people kind of look at branding like, you know, I'm gonna do my logo and that's it, or slogan. They brand the whole album. They brand the artists. They brand the singles of the song. And then they also do a lot of brand alignment. You get what I'm saying? And those are things I didn't get firsthand working for, you know, the YMCA Corporation or any other experience. But that right there and networking, that's what made me grow, was that once I went to these events, I was able to network with other people.
What do you, so brand aligning, can you talk more about that? People may not, for me too, who doesn't know exactly what that means?
Okay, brand alignment is like, you take a product and you place it with what you're doing. Like, say if you see like videos and you see like Swatch watches and Nike, they brand themselves, they align themselves with somebody that can identify with their brand. That's it.
Okay.
But you're not gonna put like Young Jeezy on an oatmeal box commercial.
Got it. Okay.
You're gonna put him something like they had him like on Boost Mobile back in the days, because that was the thing, the street thing. And you know, and one more thing I gotta say, the power of the Black dollar. Our community, we spend a lot of money and they target us first before they target anybody else.
Chris made it, by the way, so he's joining us, Derek.
Sorry, brother, that snow, man. I got 2 parents to shovel.
Man, yeah, I understand it, man. Glad to
in this traffic, so sorry about that, y'all, but I'm here.
Welcome to the show, Chris.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
So yeah, Derek was just schooling us on his background at Def Jam Music, kind of where he got started with promotions, and we went through a little run through of his clothing line, and so we're just talking about some of the things he learned while working with Def Jam, and what he brought to his own label and brand. So
okay,
brand alignment.
Yeah.
And his brother's from Milwaukee too? Or
Yeah,
what?
I'm from here.
Okay, yeah. I was gonna say it's a lot of gyms in Milwaukee, you know, in all types of industry, especially in entertainment, that comes out of Milwaukee. And you never hear about it because it's always the people, the brothers and sisters behind the scene. But Milwaukee has been for years, as long as I've been you know, a part of music and other things. It's always been people. And for you, that's a big up. Appreciate that. To keep us on the map.
Yeah, even with it, it was like this was back in 2014 when I was doing it. They were more giving Milwaukee like a black eye, where they were saying we was too small, we didn't have a big market, and that's why they didn't have a Def Jam rep here. Yeah, but it was more like we was blackballed because of, at the time, they said we was the highest poverty city and things like that. So we wasn't getting a lot of big acts to Milwaukee. Yeah. So that was another thing that fueled my drive entertainment wise, because I know the value of Milwaukee. I know the talent. I know my hometown, and I can't go by the numbers of what they was projecting to me. But in it, that fueled my drive to start my own company too, the way that they looked down on us and kind of sort of say, where they really didn't want to have a regional marketer here. They didn't want to bring the big acts. Only thing they gave us credit for was Summerfest.
Mm.
Yeah.
Summerfest. That hurt my heart.
How long have you had the media company? How long has Organized Takeover been in existence?
I had it since 2014, but I had to revamp it this year.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we talked about the COVID thing, how it affects business.
No, we did not.
Because I'm used to doing the Zooms and things like that, but as far as like events.
Yeah, can't do anything. Your hands tied. When it comes to entertainment, everybody's losing money. And Boosie actually said in the Vlad interview that with this COVID, he was like, all these rap niggas finna go back to the street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
it's nothing moving.
No, and I was telling some artists that I know that they have to actually do like 3 times the work now, because you don't even know what they're gonna do with the second wave.
Right.
So if you're planning for an album, you got to do at least 6 singles now instead of 3.
Yeah.
Because you got to be prepared to push and push and push. But it actually made a lot of artists come out their comfort zone and actually get into multimedia and the internet like it's supposed to.
Yeah, being creative, like that Versus, very creative, keeps a lot of people, and it generates money, keeps a lot of people in the market. Places like New York and California have the strictest response to COVID. So you can't do nothing, and those are the big music or entertainment markets in this country, amongst other things. But the good thing about the internet, though, and the fact that people are moving away from the big labels and things of that nature, and distribution is, really don't need it anymore because of the internet. And so what people have to do, I think, in my opinion, and I think that you touched on it, is we got to learn how to use this internet, and to get our product out, to keep our names alive, all that kind of stuff, Jasmine Sullivan, I'll say one more thing. Jasmine Sullivan had she had a live performance, but it was just her band. Yeah. And it was a show. And other artists, they had shows that you had to pay for, like Rakim did a show over Wu-Tang beats.
Yeah, I seen that.
Man, it was fly. It was dope. But it was all internet, you got to use it. That's what we've been pushed to.
And I was going to ask you that, Derek, how has the music industry changed? Because it has changed quite a bit. Like, people, are they making albums still? Are people buying albums?
Well, from the people I talk to, it's a single driven industry now, that you could just drop a single and let it go. Yeah. And make money off of that. Yeah. So matter of fact, Beyonce said something. She said, people don't appreciate a body of work no more. Nah. They just dropping singles and pushing it, and then so forth, the album. But the biggest change I did see was that he touched on it, the independent. You really don't need a big label no more.
They're obsolete. They're obsolete. That's why they're losing. And if you think, we talk about Lil Wayne selling his masters, but nobody talks about Jimmy Iovine, who sold all of his masters for way more than what Lil Wayne was doing. It's no more money. Brick and mortar is gone, so you don't need the hard copy CDs. Black folks already been stopped at because of downloads. Here's my CD right here on my cell phone. Right. Nobody's buying that. So you just got to change. And it's actually, it's actually better for the smaller man, because now you have all the control. Yeah. And
it goes back to like that old E40 format. It's back to that, structure, but even better because they have the internet. And you have your own fan base now that you really don't need the labels. So that's why the labels right now trying to push everybody through the 360 deal. Yeah. Because, they have, most artists coming with their own clothing line, their own product. So with the music industry dying now, the big industry wanted some of that money too. So if you get a Coke deal, Pepsi deal, they want that money. When you go on tour, they want some of that money now. Yeah. Because it was dwindling.
Their greed, their failure to leave what's the word? To pioneer the new wave of how music is getting out. The labels didn't do that. What they did instead was give these big old record contracts. Yeah. But along with the 360 deal too. So that big advance is not what you think it is.
No, and
You know? But it killed them. I think that killed them.
yeah, okay, like say for instance with us with the Def Jam situation, the reason why I stopped so soon with them was because they were cutting the budget on marketing. So the new thing was, this was in 2016 when I was done with them. They were doing what they was calling having the fans do the promotion now. So they was getting more into the internet to get the fans more engaged, because they know the fans going to retweet, they're going to repost, they're going to do the tagging. So they really didn't need a promotion team like that no more. So they started doing it. But their key thing was they was going back to giving it to the DJs. So the DJs became the big promoters now. So it was like, we really don't need a big budget for everything. We're going to use the fans to push. We're going to have our website, but then we're going to put the music back to the hands of the DJs and at the clubs.
That's deep. So
Yeah.
Chris mentioned that, it's getting tough out here. It might be a lot of brothers going back out in the streets trying to, slang or whatever. I know you mentioned that you're working on a small film about your life. You want to talk about that?
It's going to be one about my life, transitioning from a gang member to drug selling to my spiritual walk to where I'm at now. You get what I'm saying? Because I used to be a minister or licensed and ordained minister. But even in that format, I still felt like I was missing something, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like all the searching. But once I took that sabbatical to myself and with God, I found that my calling was something different beyond the church, beyond the four walls, So it's that transition of those peers to where I'm at now. And then we got a small film called Cream City, the acronym like Wu-Tang, but it's based on Milwaukee, and cocaine runs everything around Milwaukee. That's what it stands for. But it's going to tell the dark side of the drug dealing, kind of based and inspired by true events from my life and people that I know. So it's going to show the ups, the downs, but it all ends in a bad way.
If I may ask, and you don't got to answer if you don't want to, I don't know if it's been discussed, but what affiliation are you talking about? You don't got to answer that if you don't want to. I personally don't. I don't do it publicly myself.
What would you mean by affiliation? To my gang?
Yes.
I was brought up Black Gangster Disciple.
Oh, Chicago or Milwaukee?
Milwaukee here.
Oh, okay.
I'm 45, man.
So you had some OGs. That's what I'm saying. You had some real OGs then.
Yeah, man. A lot of them. And some of them are going to be on my documentary, man. They're going to talk. I got a lot of them that's going to talk and come and be a part of it. They're going to be there. And then I'm off for 29th to Hour and 28th in Galena as well.
You know what's funny when you say that?
That's where they at too, honey.
It make me think about when I was 15 years old and I was messing around with, back in those days, it was speech and Arrested Development. But what people don't realize, we were a big conglomerate. It wasn't just Arrested Development. It was also Growing Nation. What was it? The Basement Music, the group. No. I don't know why I went blank real quick. Dang. My guy off Hampton, who was murdered with his father, and case still hadn't been solved. Us, of course, Growing Nation and everything, and we was all one big thing until Speech got his thing and left. But I say that to say this because when I was with Growing Nation, I was dealing with Fulani, and Fulani is cousins with Larry Hoover.
Yeah.
Chief, and when I went down there, I went to Chicago and recorded my first song. It was in Larry Jr.'s studio. He picked me up and all that kind of stuff, and I stayed in his house and he laid it out for me. He, introduced me to Common and all those other big name national artists from Chicago. And, I was just a young boy. So yeah, it's what you're saying. The gang influence does go with the music.
Yeah. It's for us. It was kind of like a way out, but it was also a form of expression because we were so angry. You get what I'm saying? It was because we was kind of counted out. By the time you get 18, 19, you'll be dead or in jail. You know what I mean? But it was, for me, I was talented at it, freestyle battling and doing what I did, but I was more in love with the concept of getting money. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I love money back then. I did my dirt, you know what I mean? But it was, and it sounds crazy to say this, but drug dealing kind of saved my life, to be honest, because I was so wild as a gang member. You get what I'm saying? But someone told me, you can't make money and do this. You're gonna die soon.
Yeah.
So I fell in love with the drug aspect, because to me, it was like a job. It was like a business. You know, that was for me. I had a set time. I took my bumps and bruises, but I respected the game to where I never called none of my customers dope fiends, anything like that. I called them by their name. You know, I served them. I looked at it as I had a product until as I got older and realized what I was doing to my community. You know what I mean? And that's what really made me start to change, was that I started to see the damage.
And those two names I went blank on just real quick was T.A. the Wiz and Gumbo.
Okay.
Gumbo.
I remember Gumbo.
Yeah. That was we was a whole group. We was a whole family.
Speaking of that, so, and you missed out when he talked about this in the beginning, Chris. But just to bring it all together, because you've done a lot of damage to the community, Derek, and you've admitted it, you're owning it. And what you're doing. So one of the things I find is that a lot of times people have behaviors, negative, positive, whatever, but they're a behavior. And a lot of times that negative behavior can be shaped into a positive behavior. It's just a matter of shifting it a little bit. And so what you're doing with what you're trying to do with organized takeover, with bringing the Latino brothers together, bringing the Black brothers together, and having this community where they can create and bring their own kind of creative artistry and be a part of this bigger movement, I think is huge. And it's just another variation of the brothers in the community that are, you know, maybe trying to find their way, don't have access, don't have jobs, resources, but you're creating that. So I think, well, first of all, thank you for changing the narrative and shifting it. So kudos to that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. You know, you played a part in that as well. And when I was getting that youth development certificate
at the university.
Yeah, I was actually downstairs. That's when I really started doing it for my years with the YMCA. Because even though they had a mindset to help the community, it was still based around dollars.
Oh.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
It was still based upon the programs that you put in place, the more money you get coming in. So it wasn't like a heartfelt thing from the CEOs that I knew and executives. Some of them did have a good heart, but it still was based around the dollars.
Yeah. And you know, we call them poverty pimps, right, Derek? Right, Chris?
Yeah. So that's, you know, because even with all that I'm doing, it's for my nonprofit organization. That's my goal, is to deal with, like I said, it's innovation, entrepreneurship, and mental health.
Okay.
So a lot of people don't understand, we come from these streets, we do have some health issues, mental health issues. You know, from the things that I have done, I've seen some of my friends, and I'm realizing that when they come home, it's like they go through a clinical depression.
Yeah.
You know, some of them could come home with, you know, with skilled trades, doing carpentry, you know, a lot of them do carpentry, electricians and stuff like that, but they took a lot of that stuff out of some of the prisons now. Some of them come home, they've been selling dope all their life. Only thing they know is they don't know what to do.
Yeah.
You know, they be so depressed because that's all they know. So you got to try to help them get back into the workforce, or find that talent within them, to find them something that they can do until they get to a place that they can do what they want to do as far as entrepreneurship. But it's a lot of young men that I know that's dealing with psychological damage from what they perceive as normal is not normal. You know, drive-by, saying their friends get shot, or being caught up in shootouts. So they think that's the way that we're supposed to live, which is not. You know, you shouldn't be 14 thinking I'm finna grab my pistol and my jacket to go outside. That's not living.
I'm over here teleporting again. I'm trying to find the right spot where I don't do it. But I was gonna ask you, I'm saying that, what do you think? Give me your opinion on when you talked about these brothers selling drugs their whole life. And I think the misconception when people when I think that people demean the early drug dealer, the young drug dealer, or they diminish what they went through in order to get to where they are now, like yourself, by saying, if you can sell drugs, you can start a business. To me, I don't believe that. I believe the drug game is totally different from a legit business. It's two different integrities that you gotta have. It's things that are involved in both sides that they don't cross.
Yeah, it's the even from when I went into the corporate world for the YMCA, I was an auditor. I dealt with monies and accounts. I didn't have a degree in it, but when I looked at certain situations, there were like similar to your branding, your networking, your profit sharing, projecting how much you're going to make off your work. And
Logistics.
even if you
Logistics.
Financial.
Yeah, there's little parallels in that. And I found confidence, like, wait a minute, if I can negotiate a drug deal with some of the hardest killers, I can go in here and negotiate a business loan. You get what I'm saying? I have nothing to lose. You can't talk me out of it because I've been schooled the hard way. Yeah. You get what I'm saying? But I would have never seen these parallels if I didn't work in the corporate world for 4 years. That was my college, was the corporate world. So I began to see the parallels of it, like, okay, you still gotta bag it. You gotta know your profit. You gotta know your margins. You gotta know location, location, because you can't open up a dope house on
anywhere. Yeah.
In West Allis, you ain't gonna make no money. You gotta know the location. You gotta know. Yeah, you gotta know projections, because you gotta know on the first of the month you gotta have a lot of product. You get what I'm saying? You gotta know the logistics of the parallels of certain aspects of business.
Right, those are the logistics, but the execution is what I'm talking about. Is who you actually are when you're out there. Those two things are totally different. And brothers who spent a lot of their times in the streets, when it's time for them, when they want to come into the civilian world, they have no clue.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What's even more shocking for me is they're fearful even. But you're out here and you can tote a pistol, and I'm not judging, I'm just calling how I see it. And you're in these dangerous situations, you're dealing with dangerous people, your life is in jeopardy every time, but then you're scared to go against this white man in the business suit.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do? Kill you? But it's a mentality thing. And I don't know where that begins.
Yeah. And that's what started that depression, that what I'm gonna do now. Because I got I got a felony. They don't want to hire me. I'm black. You know what? Here's one of my personal testimonies. A lot of people that do know me, I had a homicide on my record. And I had all this experience. When I left the game in 98. 99, I came home from facing some time in the house correction. I beat the cases. So when I got into ministry, I thought everything's going to be all happy-go-lucky. I got God on my side. I'm hearing all this. I'm going to be okay. That wasn't the case. Then in 2004, my friends got indicted in 2002. So they started they brought up an old homicide case from when I was 19. And I ended up beating that, but it was still on my record. I couldn't get a job at the hardest thing. I went for an interview at Little Caesars Pizza. I got management experience, got all this, not a felon. I couldn't even get a job at Little Caesars. Wow. I mean, I couldn't get nothing. And it was I had to go work at McDonald's.
How old were you when you did that?
Streets.
How old were you when you did that?
When I did what? When I had to go through that period?
Yeah.
I went through that period when like 95, 2005.
Okay.
For a long time.
Yeah.
But the case that I was talking about, that happened when I was 19, but I didn't get brought into court until 2004. Yeah. 10 years later.
That should be crazy too.
And
it was a hard one. So that's the part of my testimony too. Yeah. But it was hard trying to find my way for years. I mean, for years, I had to work at McDonald's. Imagine having a lot of money and you still got money put up, but then you got to go work for $7.25 an hour.
Yeah.
I mean, it was hard.
How do you watch the money that you got put up? So you can put things in your name, Yeah.
Yeah, even with it was, we don't want to talk about money laundering, but it was I had to live, you know what I mean? So it was more being spent. You know, at the time, you know, my baby mom, I had to send her, you know, go put the house, you know, go get the rent, get it in your name, stuff like that, or whatever. And, you know, just have to use cash, man.
Mhm.
You just have to have somebody go for you. Have to have my baby moms go.
Yeah.
Take it, go do what you got to do.
Yeah, that's the part I'm talking about too. Especially when you want to enter the workforce in your 30s or your 40s, fresh out of prison with no work experience.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
with no post-secondary education, you know, at least, you know, and it's difficult. And trust me, I work with these kind of brothers, you know, and you know, you try your best, but it's like you really got to start back at the bottom. What you avoided, you know, in the beginning. There's no slight to nobody, you know, it just is what it is. But when you actually do that, like you did, when you start the process and you say, forget it, I'm going to do what I can. And then all of a sudden opportunities come because you have this experience that you built up, and now you have your company, you know, and that's the thing. That's the walk that these brothers got to go through. Sadly, a lot of them don't get it to that, man.
No, and you know, it was hard, man. It took me almost 10 years to get where I was going.
Yeah.
Even when I got into the YMCA, they had to have a meeting, man, about my background. I mean, executive board meeting with the executives.
Yeah, my second job teaching was the same thing. 2006, I had a felony assault, you know, charge.
Okay.
But no weapon, no witness. You know, it was dismissed. You know, so
yeah.
What made them hire you at the Y?
I knew one of the ladies that was there, you know, through ministry or whatever, doing my own work. But I was always heavy with the block. I love the block, go helping them. And so they was trying to promote her to the next level. So they said she had to find somebody to replace her. And she like, I know someone, he works at McDonald's, but he has more skills than that. Just give him a chance. You know, please give this man a chance. So they brought me in. And so her supervisor's like, it's a go for me, but we have to his background.
Yeah, right.
So they brought in this lady named Vera, and she was like my mom. She became like my mother to me. And once I came in, she was like, I'm gonna give you a shot. She said, out of all these, you got a history of violence. She said, but I'm gonna give you a shot. She said, don't prove me wrong. She said, prove me right, but she said, I'm gonna give you a shot because of the interview. But then as I began to go and do my job, they were cutting positions. So they still didn't know what they was gonna do with me after that. So that's when they had another big meeting where it was like white people didn't want me downtown, you know, because that was the corporate office downtown.
Yeah. And
they didn't want me in the office. They didn't want me visible. They didn't want me nowhere near the corporate office. Nowhere.
And this is with a criminal case that was dismissed.
Yeah.
But it still shows. It still showed in your records.
Yeah, it was on my record.
And that's why
I didn't know how to get it off like that. Yeah. And that was the thing I wasn't convicted for. I was ruled justifiable because it was a shootout, but it was still on my record as a homicide.
Gotcha.
That was hard for me because it's like, I understand it, but when they see it on black and white, it was like, they didn't want me nowhere near none of that.
Yeah.
I mean, none of it. Even when I went down there and got the promotion and then excelled in it, I still dealt with so much racism down there.
Yeah.
To where I had to go to the EEOC and file complaints. I had to go see a psychologist for work-related stress because I was the only black man in finance in a whole corporate office.
How long ago was that, Derek? That was
the year 2010.
Okay. Wow.
So that's what made me come upstairs to go to that program because I wanted to start my own things. Like I had enough.
Well, I'm glad you came up there. At least you got to see some other faces that look like you in that class.
Yeah, I was, yeah. Yeah. Even with the certificate, the background still was stopping me from getting jobs dealing with the youth.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a tough one.
It'll do that. Can you get expunged? I don't want to linger on that, but I'm like, man, this brother needed. Like, man, shoot. Can you get it? Can you get that stuff expunged?
Yeah, I tried it, and I'm gonna send you. We probably have to link. I'm gonna send you the paperwork. They told me I couldn't get it off because it was money still owed on the case. Oh, and I'm like, how is it money owed on the case when it never went to trial?
It's probably the what is that called when you got not court fees? It's something else. Like when somebody is assaulted.
Restitution.
That's probably what it is.
restitution. I was glad it wasn't a civil lawsuit. You know, because you know that's around. But then at the time that some of the people I was affiliated with, when they got indicted, because it was like I was the one that got away. You get what I'm saying? It's like I had to. I knew some information about somebody in our clique, in our mob, what made me branch off. And then when I got out in '98, I was like, I'm done with the game. I'm good. Yes, they stayed in and got indicted, but the people they was connected with between here in Chicago and Chapel, and my name came up, they wanted me. But I beat the indictment by years, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I was thinking they was holding that over my head as well. Like, okay, we're gonna see what. But they told me one thing. They said, just because they let me out doesn't mean another DA can't pick it up and try to the case.
That's why you want to get it expunged if you can.
Really?
Yeah, murder don't go away.
No,
murder don't go away. If they have any kind of evidence that you had something that probably caused that you probably had something to do with it, but they didn't have all their T's.
But double jeopardy. What? But if you're already no.
Yeah, I never went to trial. It was
bring it up.
It was ruled justifiable because he was shooting at me and I was shooting back at him. You get what I'm saying? I was stuck.
So he would have to argue self-defense. Did you? I don't think you did that, did you?
No, I didn't even go to trial. They ruled it with the ballistics and the evidence that the guy still had his gun, and the testament of the people that even told on me. They said what happened, that this guy came shooting at me and I shot back. So that's why they ruled it justifiable homicide. Because you know, there wasn't no nothing where I could say, you know, I plead self-defense or anything like that. I had sat down there with $1 million bill. They wouldn't let my lawyer come in. They wouldn't let my moms, nobody come in. They said it was a red tape investigation. They didn't even tell them where I was at. I was in an old county jail, not even in the new one. They kept me in the old county jail for 5 days. And I couldn't even my lawyer couldn't even come down there and talk to me.
Wow.
And you didn't see, you didn't see a judge before then? Did they release you after that 5 days?
Yeah, they released me. They sent me to the regular county jail. They booked me in, and then I had 2 false charges for battery and something else. And it's like, where that charge come from? With no victim, no nothing. So they booked me with the homicide. They booked me with the battery and some other charge. They sent me upstairs for like about 2 days, and then after that they released me. Said it was justifiable. Yeah,
I know. One thing you don't want to do is let them get ahead. Why they on the low right now? This is, and I'm not trying to tell you anything, but you know, I've seen this before. But while they're on the low, you want to try your best if you can to expunge that stuff. Okay. For real.
Yeah.
Trinity in the comments says from hustler to entrepreneur. So how about that? But with everything that you shared tonight, Derek, and you know, your goals, your visions, the whole 180 change that you've done, what is your definition of success? That looks very different to many different people. So having had tons of money, having acquired things, and having to live, having a peace of mind, what's your definition of success?
My definition of success and what I've been through and seen is, man, waking up happy. To be honest, it's waking up doing what I love to do. That's my success. You know, it's not about the money, it's not about the dollar. It's about, for me, I wake up, I do what I love to do. Even if it's just a phone call, inspiring somebody, that right there is success to me. You know, waking up, if I could just inspire my wife, hey, I love you, she smiled, that's success.
Wow.
You know, I'm gonna go one further and say the mistakes you made led you to your success as well. How else would you have come to this conclusion? You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
So you can't down people when they make certain mistakes. Even Farrakhan said, the minister said, I don't care if you black, white, gay, straight, don't ever, even your enemy, don't ever gloat when your enemy falls, because you can too.
Yeah.
It's what do you do? What do you do with your downfalls? Do you tuck and hide or run, or do you stand like a man like you did and go forward and forge another way?
Yeah.
You know?
So you definitely stepped into your grown man shit, obviously.
Oh, yes. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, my God, Rick Porter shot that.
Who shot this?
Rick Porter.
Rick Porter.
Yeah, I know Rick Porter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rick
Yeah,
did
I
a
worked
great
with him for
job
10
with these
years.
photo shoots.
Yeah, see, I come up with the concepts and he shoot, but right now it's like inspiring where I come from. Let these kids know, keep your hustle, just change the product.
Yes, sir.
I love it.
Yes,
love
sir.
It, love it. All right, so we're just gonna shout out where the people can find you. I think we got it here. So protectyourheartsapparel.com is where you'll find his clothing line and his brand, and you can also contact him at Derek Marks on Facebook. Derek, do you have any other places where they can contact you?
Yeah, D Marks at protectyourheartsapparel.com. That's my email. And my email, derekmarks100@gmail.com.
Okay. Before we get out of here, any last minute comments? You dropped a lot of jewels and schooled me on things that I didn't know of. So thank you for that. But any last minute comments, last minute plugs, anything you want to say?
No, I'm glad for you guys having me. I still take my hat off to you for teaching that class. That was a cornerstone of my life. Chris, I'm glad you came, man. I really hope that we can link up sometime and talk, man.
Bro, we're gonna have to. Everything you talked about is what I'm on. All your, you know, the connections that you have on that side, I have on this side. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And the last thing I was gonna say, Javon, is I appreciate conversations like this because Black folks, we at a crossroads right now at this time in life. That old way ain't working no more, but people still they still risk it.
Yeah.
And when people like you have their voices, have a platform for their voice, it encouraged them to look at the other roads. That's been there all along, what we should have been picking, you know? And I appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate you the more, brother.
Yeah.
I thank y'all for having me. Really, I really do. This meant a lot, man. This encouraged me to keep going.
Always keep going. And however we can help, reach out. At some point, I'm gonna kind of devise a team because we got so many people doing so many beautiful things. I'm like, we all need to come together and bring that all together and
This is the process right now.
Build and create. So all for it.
It's a lot of inspiring people that I know. If you looking for a particular person to interview, I know a lot of people that got a lot of history from that side that has changed as well.
I would love to talk more about that. I got a little bit of a list in the roster, but we definitely got to talk, Derek. Definitely. So keep in touch. Yeah.
Just let me know when, and I'm there. Anything that you guys are doing, I don't care what it is. Just give me a call. I'm there.
Oh, and likewise, same here.
Right,
thank you so much. We do just want to shout out the G-Spot, and then next week y'all join us, y'all. We are getting really exclusive with the ladies. We're talking about female sexuality. We're going to be real candid, so y'all can catch us right here next Tuesday, 8 p.m. at G-Spot Me on Facebook, and you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So we will be here live and direct. Thank you again, Derek. We will be in contact. We will be in touch, and we wish you the best of luck.
Okay. Salute. Thank you. Blessings.
Blessings.
Peace.
Peace.